every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. I am Robert Kress. This Friday afternoon, August 11th. I am also a reporter for the Bronx Chronicle. As you can see, my official New York City press card. I also write for the Co-op City News and Parkchester Times of Muslim Media, which also runs this show. Today, let me go into the weather. Today's weather should be beautiful in the mid-80s for Assemblyman John Sicaro Jr.'s back-to-school bash at Loretto Park today from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Since it's after the show, I will try and make an appearance there and say hello to the Assemblyman and to whoever's there. Also tonight, with beautiful weather, is the 50th anniversary of hip-hop at Yankee Stadium. So we will be watching that event from the reviews, and I'm sure the stadium will be packed. Now, as for the rest of the weekend, Saturday should be scattered showers throughout the day, but Sunday should be bright and sunny in the mid-80s. As far as the wildfires that happened in Canada, we are now hearing reports of wildfire devastation on the Hawaiian island of Maui. On Thursday, it was revealed that wasteland of obliterated neighborhoods and landmarks charred beyond recognition. As the death toll has risen over 50, survivors are telling harrowing tales of narrow escapes with only the clothes on the backs as of last night. The death toll is expected to reach 100 or more. A flyover of the area showed entire neighborhoods that had been a vibrant vision of color on the island reduced to gray ash. Block after block was nothing but rubble and blackened foundations, including along the famous Front Street where tourists shopped and dined just a few days ago. As a matter of fact, 1,100 people were evacuated from the island. And it appears that high winds from the north and Hurricane Dora from the south, with winds of 120 miles an hour, have spread the wildfires across the entire island of Maui, where now they are slowly being contained. But like I said, it is feared that the death toll could go over 100. Locally, a judge heard arguments to keep open Rikers Island yesterday under New York City control to place the jail in federal receivership. Judge Laura Taylor Swan said at a hearing in Lower Manhattan, the defendants have not yet shown me that they are willing and able to make the radical changes the administration of jails that are necessary to protect the people who are in their custody. Under the schedule of legal briefs, though, all sides will continue to confer and submit a joint statement by September 11th. If they've reached no resolution, the judge will allow a motion for contempt and application for receivership on November 17th. The city will then file its opposition by January 16th, and the plaintiffs will reply by February 15th. That means that the federal receivership would come no sooner than 6 months from now. As far as cannabis, the new cannabis stores, they've been a problem rolling them out. Well, no new cannabis stores are going to be able to open in New York after New York Supreme Court Justice Kevin Bryant ruled blocking cannabis regulators from moving forward with retail licensing this past Monday. The order is the latest blow to New York's ambitious effort to ensure that people harmed by marijuana enforcement are able to reap the financial benefits of legalization. The ruling sides with a group of service-disabled veterans who filed a lawsuit last week, arguing that a priority licensing program for entrepreneurs impacted the marijuana enforcement was unconstitutional. They said that they were included in the original statement of who would get the licenses, disabled veterans. The court is blocking the state's cannabis regulatory agencies from issuing new licenses and from granting operation approval to those already licensed and working towards opening up dispensaries. So that local cannabis store in Community Board 10 may take a while to open if this suit continues. Last week, New York City Mayor Adams celebrated a record-breaking year for affordable housing. And Mayor Adams said, today we're making good on our Get Stuff Done, Built, and House Our Neighbors initiative that we focused on, and we're smashing records and connecting even more New Yorkers to affordable housing. Adams said this at a press conference in the Hudson Yards. I'm sure he's going to be putting the Hudson Yards are going to be affordable to everybody. But one of the metrics the city uses to measure progress on affordable housing, the financing of deals for new construction and preservation of affordable units. However, it is still lower than in recent years under former Mayor Bill de Blasio. City Hall spokesman Charles Lutvick said that conditions created such a significant decline in affordable housing starts in fiscal year 2022, including high interest rates and construction costs that are still present today. The city managed a 45% increase despite conditions. This is a triumph, he said. Meanwhile, Adams continues to press Albany for action on affordable housing after the state legislature declined to pass a replacement for the 421A and shot down Governor Hochul's attempt to mandate new production across the state. We have already repeatedly asked state lawmakers to assist in building more affordable housing, but they have been unable to pass meaningful legislation, Adams said at a press conference. While on the subject of affordable housing, Governor Hochul announced the first Metro North LED transit-oriented development completed near the Harrison Metro North Station. Governor Hochul, leaders from the MTA, and officials from Avalon Bay communities announced the completion of Avalon Harrison, a transit-oriented development at the Harrison Metro North Station, built with support from the MTA. Transit-oriented developments intended to promote downtown revitalization and improve the environment and healthy lifestyles, providing residents access to shops, amenities, and rail stations within walking distance. The MTA is continuing to advance transit-oriented developments with another active project underway in Westbury. We will also see two developments coming here in the Bronx, but Governor Hochul said that her administration is doing everything in their power to build new housing in every corner of the state. With more than 140 units of affordable housing, the Avalon Harrison project does not only fit seamlessly into the community, it promises to make Harrison more dynamic and walkable and serve as a model for transit-oriented development everywhere. Avalon Harrison, built on the Metro North Railroad Harrison Station, includes 143 apartments and 3 residential buildings, and it says including 7 affordable apartments subsidized by Westchester County. Approximately 5,000 square feet of amenities for the residents of the community, approximately 27,000 square feet of vibrant street-level retail/commercial space, 2 landscape public plazas with connections to the Metro North Harrison Station platform, 758 total projected parking spaces, 475 Metro North customer parking spaces, an increase of 218 or 85%, 96 retail parking spaces, and 187 residential parking spaces for the 143 apartments. MTA Chair and CEO John Olivo said this project is a perfect example of what is meant to be when we say the phrase TOD, transit-oriented development, is used. We got housing, beautiful new housing close to transit so people don't have to own as many cars and they don't have to use them as frequently. As the governor said, these are the units that are custom designed for seniors who want to get out of that big house now for the local apartment right near the train station. Now, this is nice and wonderful that they've built 143 new affordable apartments, or at least 7, according to Westchester County, right next to the Metro North Station in Harrison. So what can we expect here in the Bronx? Well, we can expect that the 2 Metro North stations, Morris Park and Parkchester/Van Ness, that Mayor Adams, I said he wants to put 3,000 units of affordable housing next to each of these 2 stations. How much parking will there be? There will be no parking for the Metro North Station and limited, if any, parking for the housing. So with 3,000 units of housing, we can expect to see maybe 100 parking spaces for all the people. So this is quite different from what's being built right next to the Metro North stations elsewhere. And as a matter of fact, Harrison is less than 12 miles away from the Metro North stations in the Bronx. On to another subject. New York Attorney General James and New York State Education Commissioner Betty Rosa issued guidance reminding New York public schools and local education agencies of their obligation to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in educational planning and decision-making. The 3 points that they are looking at, they say that state and federal human rights laws prohibit discrimination in educational institutions on the basis of race, national origin, disability, sex, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, and age, among other protected classes. In addition, New York's Dignity for All Students Act, which took effect in 2012, was updated in 2021, requires that public schools create an educational environment where students are free to learn without fear of discrimination, harassment, or intimidation. In 2021, the Board of Regents adopted a policy urging districts to develop and implement policies and practices advancing diversity, equality, and inclusion. In the guidance, Attorney General James and Commissioner Rosa identify 3 core principles that are: number 1, ensuring teaching and learning reflect the principles of diversity and inclusion. All students should be provided with the opportunity to learn from multiple perspectives and curricula that should be up-to-date, accurate, and reflect the truth of the struggles diverse groups in the community in the country have endured. Schools cannot ban circular materials such as textbooks that accurately portray and critically analyze topics related to protected clauses such as race, national origin, gender identity, expression, and sexual orientation. Number 2, they must address disproportionately punitive student disciplinary practices and policies, that all students have an equal education opportunity according to the U.S. Department of Education. Student discipline involves students of color, particularly Black students, and students with disability, likely to attribute to implement some systematic biases. Schools should expand to train personnel on development, appropriate restorative alternatives to punitive punishment to foster a safe and positive school environment in every student can learn. They also must establish effective policies and procedures to prevent and respond to bullying and harassment. Now, the New York City Public Schools recently adopted what was known as an in-house suspension room. What this did was it took disruptive students out of the classroom and put them inside a special room where a certified teacher was. Well, this worked because it took the disruptive students out of the classroom, and it also created a new teaching position in every school for the UFT to have more membership. My final item before I go to a commercial will be an updated forecast shows that the migrant crisis could cost the city more than $12 billion through 2025, absent state and federal support. New York City Mayor Adams laid out the updated figures of the asylum-seeking cost, which the city over the next 2 fiscal years, if swift action is not taken by the state and federal governments to further help manage this emergency. The city has already spent $1.45 billion in fiscal year 2023 to provide shelter and services to tens of thousands of asylum seekers, as the city nears a total of 100,000 asylum seekers arriving since spring of 2022. Without further support, new cost estimates based on current trends show the city has the potential to spend upward of $12 billion over these 3 fiscal years, fiscal year 2023, which ended June 30th, fiscal year 2024, which began on July 1st of this year, and fiscal year 2025 next year without policy changes. As I mentioned, fiscal years run from July 1st to June 30th of overlapping years. The city laid out clear steps that the state can take to support the city and avoid the potential of spending over $12 billion over the 3 fiscal years, including, among others, implementing a statewide decompression strategy to ensure that each county is doing its part to assist with this humanitarian crisis. However, the governor has said that she is not in favor of this and that the 5 boroughs should take care of their own. The mayor wants to increase the number of state-run and state-provided sites and providing additional funding to help the city with costs already incurred by the crisis. The city goes on to say that expanding work authorizations for asylum seekers so they can be more expeditiously, securing employment, declaring a state emergency to manage the crisis at the border, provide more federal reimbursements for costs that the city is incurring, implementing a federal decompression strategy to ensure the flow of asylum seekers in a more fairly distributed way. In fiscal year 2025, the city anticipates an average daily household census will grow to almost 43,880, or more than 100,000 individuals in city care at a cost of just over $6.1 billion. Now, here are the figures you can see here. I'll read them. In fiscal year 2024, if current census population remain consistent, 25,604 households are staying at a hotel or wherever at $383 a night, times 365 days equals $3.58 billion. The forecast, though, at anticipated growth, though, for fiscal year 2024 is 33,858 households, which would equal $4.73 billion. In fiscal year 2025, the forecast is 43,877 households, which would come out to $6.13 billion. This is what the city is paying. And when I come back from my commercial, we'll go into a little bit about the Kingsbridge Armory and other things, including what people are saying about the new appointees to community boards. So let's go to a commercial.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555. Daylight Africa. Revolutionizing tourism industries in Africa.
Welcome back to the show. On Tuesday, as I mentioned, Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, and Bronx elected officials gathered inside the Kingsbridge Armory once again to announce plans for the redevelopment of the Kingsbridge Armory. I shouldn't say again because it wasn't Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams before. It was Mayor Bloomberg who was there with Borough President Diaz, and the redevelopment of the Armory has twice failed, and I'll go into a little more about that. The Armory was given to New York City in 1993, and this is the third plan to redevelop the Kingsbridge Armory. In 2008, Mayor Bloomberg proposed the shops at the Armory, which would redevelop the Armory into a huge shopping mall. That proposal was defeated in the city council due to President Ruben Diaz Jr. and local community opposition to the Bloomberg plan. What the plan was, it was to put shops in the Armory, which would then basically the stores on Kingsbridge Road and Fordham Road would be hurt. Many would close down, and since they are right next to the subway, a little unknown feature of this that not many people knew was that the developer would then redevelop the area and regentrify it, putting up high-rise condos so people can just leave and get onto the subway to go downtown to City Hall or to Wall Street. And the city council overrode a veto of then Mayor Bloomberg on this, who vetoed the city council plan, but they had enough votes to override the mayor, so that killed the shops at the Armory. In 2012, with the backing of Borough President Diaz and local elected officials, the Kingsbridge National Ice Center proposal was brought forward with the backing of New York Ranger icon Mark Messier and Olympic gold medalist Sarah Hughes, serving as spokespeople for the 9 ice rink proposal. Problems occurred in the next 8 years in getting financing for the Nick Ice Center. As I said, Mayor Bloomberg and Borough President Diaz was inside the Armory proposing this, and the deal fell through, though, after 8 years with the Armory, again, without a future for the second time. Now in 2023, Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams announced that the state will have given through grants totaling $200 million to redevelop the Armory. 100 million will come from the state, 100 million from the city. Now, I don't know how the city is going to do this when they're cash strapped. If Mayor Adams is predicting $12 billion and already saying that he's going to have to cut services to city agencies. Well, a request for proposal will be let out in September with a deadline the end of 2023 for the RFPs to be in. The one RFP, or they will be going over, and sometimes in 2024, one will be chosen and work can finally begin to redevelop the Kingsbridge Armory, which is vacant since the city took it over in 1993. Now, other Bronx elected officials on hand for the announcement included Deputy Borough President Janet Puego, Congress members Adriano and Espiat and Jamal Bowman, Assembly members George Alvarez, who now has the Armory in his district, Jeffrey Dinowitz and Udeca Tapia, state senators Jamal Bailey, Gustavo Rivera, and Robert Jackson, who's again his district has the Armory in it. Robert Jackson, city council members Eric Dinowitz, Rafael Salamanca, Parina Sanchez, and Marjorie Velazquez. The Armory is in Councilwoman Parina Sanchez's district. But at the same time, elsewhere in the Bronx, and I could only be at the Armory, the New York City Health and Hospitals Morrisania Gotham location, located at 1225 Girard Avenue, celebrated its 50th anniversary of providing high-quality health services in the Bronx since 1973. The community was invited to the celebration on Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Health and Hospital President and CEO Mitchell Katz said, I feel a tremendous sense of pride that Gotham Health Morrisania has served the community for 50 years, providing top quality healthcare regardless of age, to pay, and immigration status. He thanked everyone for being a part of this milestone in the HHC's history. Now, New York City Health and Hospitals Gotham Health Morrisania has same and next day healthcare, quality specialty care appointments available. They cover pediatrics and adolescent care, immunizations, women's health /GYN, parental and postpartum care, family planning and reproductive health, asthma care, diabetes care, mental health screening, counseling and referrals, foot care /podiatry, radiology, including x-rays, ultrasound and mammograms, social services, vision /eye care. The operations of the Morrisania location is Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Tuesday and Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. For additional information or to make an appointment, you can call 1-844-NYC-4NYC, or if you want the numbers, it's 1-844-692-4692. That's Morrisania's Gotham Health Center. Quickly, the former security detail leader, Howard Redmond, of Mayor Bill de Blasio's security detail, admitted to repeatedly obstructing the Department of Investigation and tampering with evidence in the investigation of the security detail and the abuse by Mayor de Blasio of the security detail. He will be required to fulfill 10 days of community service, and that was pretty light. It could have been jail time. Certain things that happened in the Bronx now. On Tuesday, the Bronx Republican Party headquarters, located on Williamsbridge Road, had a metal trash can thrown through the front window. The unidentified person who did it has been apprehended with the help of the 45th Precinct and Westchester BID. It has been rumored the person is mentally disturbed. The Bronx Republican Party headquarters on Williamsbridge Road is the headquarters of the 13th City Council District Republican and Conservative Party candidate Christy Maramato, who is challenging current incumbent Marjorie Velazquez. Christy Maramato defeated George Haverack and Samantha Serker in both the Republican and Conservative primaries in June, earning the right to face Councilwoman Velazquez in what is expected to be a possible tight race in the 13th City Council race, which could, and this is a long shot, it could put a Republican in the Bronx as a city council person. Next word is that 82nd Assembly District candidate Jonathan Soto, who received 35% of the vote against incumbent Mike Benedetto in 2022, is going to run again in 2024 against Assemblyman Benedetto if the Assemblyman decides to run for re-election. Rumor was that District Leader, media spokesperson for Jacoby Hospital, and Benedetto friend John Doyle was the heir apparent to the 82nd Assembly seat. With Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez now firmly entrenched in the Co-op City part of her district after redistricting 2021, Soto would have a better chance running on a ticket with the popular AOC who supported him in 2022. The only problem for Soto would be if the congressional lines were to be redrawn, taking Co-op City away from AOC, but the court case may not be heard until after the election, as Republicans have filed a counter lawsuit to the Democrats who have said redrawn lines were unconstitutional since they were drawn by an outside special master and not the independent bipartisan state legislative body as prescribed in the ballot referendum, who could not agree upon lines. Last night was the Bronx Democratic Party Judicial Convention. It was widely known that many people found out about it from a Facebook posting today by one of the delegates who is moving up in the political ladder. It doesn't matter if you attended or not. Certain people were given slips of paper to read when they were recognized, as has been the policy in the past. I was told, and no one did any. No, I did not attend the judicial convention last night. This is word of mouth from other people. Next year, I will attend it because next year's, I believe, we will see a county leader being nominated for a judge. Yes, Jamal Bailey, that's you. As I said, I was going to read a little feedback about the community board appointments. Now, this is from Michael Koss, who put this up on Twitter. He wrote, 5 months ago, after I applied for Community Board 11, I received my rejection letter today. That's August 8th. And he goes, if it's any consolation, it appears none of the folks opposed to Just Home who may haven't been inspired by it to apply to Community Board 11 were appointed either. The 11 new members are names I don't recognize immediately. Now, let me just stop here for a moment and say, Mr. Koss, I am opposed to Just Home, but I also applied last year to it and I was not appointed. Now, he continues that the Bronx Community Board 11 member list includes new appointments, was published last week, which is when he figured out that he wasn't appointed, and there were still 6 vacant seats on the board, 44 members out of 50. Have they been filled or will they be kept vacant longer? He then says on the same day, possibly answered my own question. It appears these 6 vacant seats on Bronx Community Board 11 may be kept open for appointments in 2024. Still seems odd that certain community board seats vacant for more than a year, they were vacant seats before the last round of appointments. Mr. John Doyle writes on August 9th, Michael, it is largely a patronage system, which is what I said last week. Their loss, my friend. Kevin Viola, who's appeared on the show, wanted to know, were any members removed from last year? Well, Kevin, there were 40 members that were appointed last year to Community Board 11 when the appointments came out. 7 people either left the board on their own or were removed for excessive absences. That left the number at 33, with the first vacancy occurring in September of 2022. I personally spoke to Mr. Tom Lucania, who was in charge of community boards then in December of 2022 about filling the vacancy. And his answer was, I didn't know we had a vacancy because it appears that the district manager of Community Board 11 never told him. And he was told in January of 2023. But as we see, it wasn't filled from then. And a total of 7 seats on CB11 became vacant and none were filled. So Michael and Kevin, I don't give any credence to the letter that the borough president sent out that she will be filling vacancies in the upcoming year. That's exactly what last year's letter said too. Plus the BP suggests people who did not get appointed to community boards look for seats on the neighborhood advisory boards, health and hospital advisory boards, or the solid waste advisory boards. Notice the word advisory in them. Now, last year the BP had said she had 500 applications come in, and I can't believe that this year she says that 500 applications came in again, which is the same as last year. I know that when you're doing this, you try and change numbers a little. You put 450 or 550. So I can't believe exactly what she's saying. Maybe Ephraim Gonzalez can do an investigation into why certain people of one ethnicity were not appointed or not reappointed to community boards in the Bronx. Now, here is the letter from Borough President Gibson. Now, I have covered the name of the person who gave me this, and it says over 500 applicants, both those who were reapplying and new applicants, took part in virtual interview process. My staff carefully reviewed all submitted applications. While I am unable to appoint you to this cohort board appointees, please note there is always a possibility of a vacancy between now and May 2024. My office and I will move quickly to fill any vacancies that arise and consider your application for midterm appointment. Yeah, right. Just like last year, Borough President Gibson. And then she goes on to talk about the other three advisory groups that I mentioned. And she ends with, I want to thank you again for your interest in joining one of our Bronx community boards, and hope you will continue to find ways to stay engaged, interested, and involved in your community. Now, it appears, though, that that some of the, Michael, it appears that some of these new members are already meeting with their chairs or district managers, and this is more of these secret meetings that are going on community boards, and there's really nothing I'm going to say any more about this, and I'm going to close out the show right now because I myself have very many questions about these appointees. I'm not saying any of the appointees are bad, but I'm finding out that several of them on Community Board 11 are politically connected, whether they collected signatures for the council member or connected to Mayor Adams. We'll find out in the upcoming months on this. And it'll be, Borough President Gibson who will have to take the fall for these appointees, because why she didn't appoint you, Diana Finch, and myself to Community Board 11, who have been members, who have been at almost every meeting. I don't understand it. So Michael, Kevin, Diana, all I can say is we'll have to wait and see what happens, and I'll close the show with that, and thank you for watching.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555. Daylight Africa. Revolutionizing tourism industries in Africa.